right, this is Smud,
I'm Locke.
and this is our second attempt at doing a review of the Dawn of the Seeker. Our first attempt, we had bad audio quality, and I felt bad about releasing that, so we're doing it again. This
Yay!
time, yeah, this time in person. We were doing it over Skype, and just bad quality, whatever. So, okay, Dawn of the Seeker. It was a telling of the story of Cassandra from Dragon Age 2, who was part of the Frame, who was basically there just to...
Be a plot filler sort of thing?
She was there to get information out of Varric, so it was kind of setting the scene. Mm-hmm. And then the assumption was, as Varric was telling the story, we would be playing that story. Mm-hmm. So she was pretty much a nobody. And I don't know why we had to hear her story, but because she was Orlesian, and I think the next game...
It's about Dorley Empire?
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for, which makes sense. It's really cool. So, what did you think of, overall, in general, what did you think of this movie?
I thought it was okay. There was lots of action. Lots of stuff happening. There's the whole mage knight thing came back to, like, all mages are bad. You know,
Right.
we need to hurt them all, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, that was, yeah, it was an anime. The production value, I guess, was very good. I like the animation especially. A lot of the characters had, very bright eyes. Like, I think Galleon was the most important character in the whole story. He was very likable, very friendly, and he sort of made the story what it was. He made the plot what it was. It wasn't for him. Mm-hmm. The whole story would have fallen apart. And Cassandra can easily be replaced. She was just the protagonist and just going from event to event. Mm-hmm. And that was really all she was good for.
She was angry. She had anger issues.
She definitely did. And it was all because she lost her entire family to blood mages. Mm-hmm. And we see a few flashbacks, and we find out she's this seeker, this Elite Chantry member, and she still has anger issues after all these years. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing new, nothing amazing. Again, we could replace her with anyone, and the story would be just fine. Mm-hmm. So we see her in the intro. She's like wailing away on a guy,
Like pummeling his face in.
Yeah, and her Obi-Wan character comes by and says, "Whoa, dude, you're crazy."
There's a dragon. Let's focus on what's important.
Yeah, and apparently she comes from a clan of dragon killers, which in the flashback she's depicted as a little girl, and for some reason everyone thinks she's amazing at killing dragons, and I guess this clan taught little girls how to kill dragons.
Seems like it. She said her brother was the best, right? And
he was like 10, 11,
13,
maybe at best. It was like he was the best hunter or something. Yeah.
Out of all of us. Yeah.
And he gets destroyed by a guy on a horseback with a scythe.
Yeah, he gets his head yanked off, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of funny. With those flashbacks, there's just two problems I really dislike. One was, of course, the age she was, and showing us that was the destruction of her clan, so she must have learned how to kill dragons either the day before or years before when she was like an infant, I guess. And the second one was they did not change the models of the blood mages. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the blood mages in present time, I think they're exactly the same color robes. They got the same weapons. Obviously, it's the scythe. So I was like, wait a second. Are we missing a key plot point here, or
it's the same group of people that have been hunting her all these years?
Exactly. And if you're gonna have a protagonist with this kind of backstory, and you connect these two issues, that would have been a hell of a good plot for her or reason for her to pursue this story. And it just totally skipped it, or they wasn't even thought of, and the animators and modelers just said, okay, well, we're gonna have a flashback with mages. They said, okay, use our mages from the previous scene.
All mages look the same.
Yeah, they're all bad. Yeah, they're all bad except the circle mages.
And Galleon.
Unless they practice blood magic, and then we know they're bad.
Right.
And which is kind of a sad thing, because even though that's also true, or almost always also true in the game, it's just a power. It's like you can use any kind of magic. It's how you use it that makes it good or evil. There's nothing inherently evil about
blood magic.
Blood magic. Like it summons spirits from another realm apparently from the game, and I guess that could be considered evil. I don't know, like pride demons. Like
Yeah.
they make a lot of effort to showcase that mages are evil as soon as they turn to blood magic.
Well, and I think there was the whole thing about mages needing the will to not succumb to those demons, right?
And they never could do it.
Right.
Like Meryl, she's innocent and whatnot, but if she kept using blood magic, she would probably turn as well.
Right.
So the assumption is, if you use blood magic, you're always going to be bad.
Yep. It's just a bad thing. You can't use it for good. Because I think that was Meryl's argument, right? She was trying to do some kind of good intention there somewhere. And then that resulted in her whole clan dying. So that's what happens.
Let's not go there. Okay. So essentially, this entire story hinges on Galleon. He could have been the protagonist. He's the nicest guy. He's helping Cassandra out at every turn. If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have figured out the Knight Commander was in cahoots with Fenric, I think, who was the bad blood mage.
Yeah.
The blood mage, the leader of the blood mages. Of course, he's bad. Without his healing magic to heal Cassandra from her wound, and the illusionary magic in the cave. So without those two things, they wouldn't have gotten anywhere really.
Right.
On top of, he has a network of other mages who take care of these issues before they become big problems, like when mages go missing. He has a network of these circle mages who have safe houses. When he gets near the end of the story, he uses a bird to contact these mages so that they know what's going on, and that ends up saving everyone's life. This guy was just completely essential to Cassandra's progression, to her life, and to the conclusion of the story. So he's totally always there. And he has this big round face. He's this very Disney animated look. And that's one thing I love about this story, was that everything looked beautiful. The setting, the facial expressions, I thought they were going to be like Japanese etiquette, bowing and crazy dances. And he's a very elastic character in some scenes, but it's never over the top. It never shows that it's from Japan.
No, there's a lot of nuances, I think, like when she furrows her brow or that kind of thing to show she's upset. It's not just, I'm upset. It's, you can tell there's something wrong there.
Yeah, well, she's
expressions.
Her character is really, doesn't really go anywhere.
She's angry.
She is angry. That is it. I mean, I'm surprised at the end she gives Galleon a kiss and she shows some humility and humanity there. But I was like, okay, well, whatever you need her for, I guess she can fit into the plot. The real thing I thought that got her going was the Death of Byron, and it's such a classical element to have the non-fatherly father figure in writing, and that means that this dude is not your dad, so she doesn't love him as dad. She loves him because he's this figure in her life that is his teacher. It's
like a mentor sort of thing,
and it makes him have this unique value that a father figure would not have. So we don't know how she got to that point in her life. Obviously, she's a devout religious person and good at fighting, but we don't know how she got to that station. So we're assuming it was all because of Byron. And when he died, she just had to go along with Galleon. So when she decides to go with Galleon, she beats up 6 of her seeker buddies while her hands are tied, and she kicks them through their armor. Yes. And
they fall down and they're in lots of pain.
Yeah, which I imagine if anyone were to hit them with a broadsword in their face with their it would probably do the same thing and they get knocked out or whatever. But apparently her boots are concussion powered. They just blast through armor and kaboom, everyone falls down and off they go. So yeah, little problems with that. The other problems with Cassandra aside from that scene was she's jumping off buildings and cliffs, and it's like nothing to her. It's like, oh, there's an enemy. Let's jump down this 200-foot drop or 20-foot drop, and
I'll land on it, then I'll stab a sword through it.
Yeah,
and it'll fly where I want it to.
Yeah, and her command of dragons, which I still don't think a girl was taught those skills, alone how to fly a dragon. They would have pet dragons. If they had pet dragons, blood mages would be like nothing to them. Let alone being able to hunt dragons and that skill alone would be. I can stop a dragon. If you can stop a dragon, you can take apart 20 mages with scythes that are, what are they gonna do? So yeah, so she goes along with Galleon. Eventually, they figure out who the conspirator is. And the plot is actually, the bad guy's plot. It's not a bad plot, but it doesn't go anywhere. It's like, okay, we do this, we do that, and then we'll have full control. And it's just a simple thing, but they're not thinking far ahead. They're like, okay, what if this guy betrays us? What do we do? Because the blood mage can totally control the little girl. And another thing with the lore is, because she's a circle mage, the little girl, she has to get a phylactery, which I recall from the Dragon Age series is pretty much blood magic that allows the Templar Knights to zero in on missing mages.
Right, it's like a ancient GPS system. Pretty much.
it's amazing. Well, I saw the YouTube series with Felicia Day, and they used that, and it was pretty much a magical compass. The guy just went directly to the mage. So like, okay, wait, they didn't employ that, and I guess they forgot or they didn't want to explain it. But little things like that, sort of. If you knew the Dragon Age lore, you'd be like, wait a second, that didn't make sense. Why didn't they just use the phylactery? So that was another issue. I think there were a few more. The one thing I did not like about the Headseeker, when they decide to hunt down Cassandra and Galleon, was he was sort of like, I'm not gonna bother to say anything, but I'll let the guy who hates us entirely, the Knight Commander, go and capture, not kill, capture Cassandra and Galleon. And I don't know why that happened. I'd rather have the Headseeker actually compete with the Knight Commander, or at least say something like, no, these are my people, I gotta take care of them, and then get turned down by the Divine. That would have been fine. Or if he was actually actively seeking the two with help from the Circle, and he still failed, like, at least he would have been responsible.
Like he's doing his part of the job, sort of thing. Well, like his job description, it's his people.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't care for his own subordinates, why would he allow this guy who obviously hates the entire order, the Knight Commander, to go after these people? And it's just bizarre. How would they know where he is? How could he find them? Blah, blah, blah. So it was a little silly. So yeah, eventually they make it back to the, was it Orlais?
They got back to the hideout, or not the hideout, the office, right?
Oh yeah, my secret passage. That's when Galleon makes the magical bird message.
Right.
And they were going to explain the plot against the, what is it?
The Divine? No.
It's like the Vatican City. There's this big festival, and they're going to have this dragons attack the festival, and it's happening. Oh, and this is all because, I forgot to tell you, the little girl controls animals. It's her magic ability. So you see her in the beginning, she's drinking, she's forced to drink Drake's blood, and it's killing her, and she becomes possessed somehow. She managed to control these dragons, so that's the plot. And it's fine. I'm not picky and choosy of how smart that is. It's a fantasy setting, that's fine. So anyway, Cassandra and Galleon go through the secret entrance. They finally meet the High Seeker. They tell their story. They show them the stone that proves that the High Commander, or the Knight Commander, is the guy conspiring against the Chantry. And they tell him, he leaves his office, and almost immediately after, you see him come back, he gets stabbed right through the chest plate by the Knight Commander. And this immediately made me think of Dragon Age 2 when you're in the Templar building. I can't remember the name of it. There is
a long corridor,
and in between the long corridor there's two offices. One office is the Orsino dude, who's the Circle Mage leader, and the other one is Meredith, who's the Knight Commander. And as you go play that scene in the game, they give you quests, and they're kind of like, well, I want you to go do this for me, but don't tell this person who's like 2 meters away from me across the hall. So this, I'm guessing, even in this movie, they designed all these places exactly the same. The offices are exactly the same place, and they're within earshot of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy must have been like right outside the door while he's hearing the story, and was just waiting to pounce. And apparently, as soon as he does this, he screams for guards, who were just right out the office too, and they didn't see him stabbing him while he was.
They didn't hear when he got killed.
Yeah,
and all that stuff.
It was this like bizarre scene where it's like, oh, that could not have happened, but it did, and she gets blamed for because it was her. Was it her sword?
I don't know. Was it?
I'm trying to remember because it seemed pretty weird.
I don't think it was her sword, but.
Okay.
It's just like they just saw his dead body. Cassandra, you did this.
It was a bizarre scene. So anyway, she's in the jail and she's tied up, and he sort of reveals that, well, obviously they know it's him, and she's talking about how awesome he is, and here we were thinking he was going to reveal the entire plot. Like, this is a typical trope in movies: the evil guy thinks he's won, so he's explaining the plot. And Cassandra's just screaming at him. It's like, tell me who is the conspirator, because it's not just him. And it's like, you're tied to the wall. You're gonna die soon. I mean, it just like, why would he ever want, aside from the stupid trope, why would he ever want to tell her what was going on and who did what? And
so she can die in peace and know.
Like, tell me. It's like, you're going to die. Tell me. Like, it's okay, Cassandra. Whatever. So. Finally, there's a time when they're going to get beheaded. Was it the top of the... I don't exactly know where it was on the Vatican City thing.
Right.
But this is while the festival's going on. And there's all these high clerics and their multicolored robes. And one's yellow and orange and purple. And the Grand High Cleric, or the Divine, sorry, is on the main... what is that?
Like a pedestal kind of tower thing.
Yeah, in the middle of that. And they're having their thing. There's always all kinds of people are filled up, and they're about to behead Cassandra, and Gallion is making a motion to her to stall or whatever. And it turns out the mages knew what was going on. They got the message from Gallion, and they stopped them from being beheaded. And during this time, Cassandra's running around, dodging people from fighting her, and all these knights or the Knights Templar are getting knocked over, and she never picks up a sword. Mm-hmm. She's just running around. Like, here she is, never bothering with a sword or whatnot. So finally, she faces the Knight Commander, and Gallion's like, here, take the damn sword. And she starts fighting. Mm-hmm. And at this point, you're thinking, okay, what's going to happen? Is she going to learn something from her teacher that her teacher taught her? Which was two things. There was only two things that we remember of any value. And that's when they were sparring, where he says... sometimes your blade is like your shield and your shield is like your blade. So I was thinking, oh, okay, she's gonna
whack him with her shield and
I don't know, something.
Parry you with her sword.
Maybe Gallion would come in and stop the guy because he was like a supporting character. He was always protecting her, so maybe he'd do something physical, but he wasn't actually there. He took off. But it turns out no, she just falls, not falls, but she dodges a thrust or a swing from the guy's sword and pulls her sword up and cuts the guy's arm off. And he's wincing on the ground and blah, blah, blah. And then he's ready to be thrown into jail and she's just walking away. And he breaks free and he comes right after her and he's about to take her head off. And then in the next frame, it just boom, really quick. She just slices his head off. You don't even see the animation. She's just doing it. Like it's already done. And his head just goes rolling by. And she has this line, that, because she's a badass, she has to have that line where she's like, so it has come to this. Or something.
Something to that degree.
It was like, gee, well, you were trying to kill him and he was trying to kill you. I mean, what do you think it would have come to if you fought again? I don't know. It was pretty stupid lame. So, during this time, she's seeing all these dragons chasing after whatever. They're just... I don't know, they're just flying around. I don't think they're doing much. And
are they trying to kill all the divines and the clerics or something?
I don't know exactly. It was kind of weird because the understanding was, I thought, one of the Grand Clerics, the one that was obviously plotting this, would have stayed home.
That's what I would have thought as well.
And so all the other Grand Clerics would have died. She would have been the last one left, so she had to be nominated the Divine. But she was actually there with all the other clerics in their colorful robes, and she just walked away and behind a pedestal, and she was fine. And all the other clerics, some of them got stomped on, got trampled by dragons. So
I just thought that was like a really risky thing to gamble, though. Like, how do you know you're not going to get trampled on or eaten or burned? Because you can't control, because the Fenric doesn't know you're the person in charge, so he doesn't know to keep the dragons away from you.
No.
So it's kind of like, how do you know you're not going to die?
I think the Blood Mage knew who the two conspirators were. I think they did. He would tell us at the end. Like, that's the thing though with her. She stupidly walks across the rampart after she'd been stomped or whatever. She was struggling, but she had to walk all the like. Why would you do that? I don't understand. Like, I had to go all the way around, and then he stabs her in the chest, and he turns into Mr.
Demon person.
Pride demon thing. So he was assuming he was an abomination, or he somehow became that, or he was a pride demon all the time. We don't know. It was a little confusing at that point, but so many factors into this scene. I mean, Fenric could have betrayed everyone. The girl could have gone crazy.
Dragons are doing what they want.
Yeah, they could have done nothing. I mean,
right?
And during this time, Cassandra's jumping off the freaking ramparts onto dragons, killing them. And I think she does this 3 times. First on the 2 dragons. The second one, she was flying with her sword in the dragon's back. I don't know how that happened. If I was a dragon and there's this giant piece of metal through my vertebrae, I'd be kind of screwed up. But apparently she flies this dragon into the big-ass dragon, and it was about to crash into the Divine, and she saves them. And during this time, Galleon is fighting off Fenric, I believe.
Yep, I think so.
And he has his circle mage buddies, and they're like, it's over. We're overpowering you. Blah blah blah. And that's when the other Grand High Cleric comes by. She gets impaled, and he turns into this giant pride demon. And the pride demon ends up fighting Cassandra. She gets blown away. She's not hurt. She just she doesn't get hurt. She just get knocked back, and they end up fighting the dragon. I think was it the little girl who does that? I can't remember.
Yeah, like they somehow talked to her and got her to.
Galleon was like, "Please help us."
Yeah, you need to help us or something.
And so there's this giant Godzilla battle, which is completely Japanese. So I'm thinking, yep, you know what? This is what exactly we gotta have a Godzilla battle. We gotta have a dragon fight a giant thing. It's like, okay. I don't know if that actually happened, but I thought it was funny that they have to have this ridiculous fight scene between 2 creatures. So the pride demon dude, who's Fenric, gets lit on fire, and he's at the bottom. He falls. He falls from the ramparts, and Cassandra again takes another leap right off. I don't know why she does this, and stabs the guy. I don't know how she suddenly have bionic art legs that she can impact this
and not die. And
yeah. No, it was very frightening. I was like, okay, she's dead now. And boom, she's okay. She apparently killed him with one sword
through the chest thing.
Head, I think it was the head. I don't know.
Something.
And then she's like looking around. There's all these people who are still standing around.
They're cheering. Yay!
Well, all these dragons are lighting everyone on fire and breaking things. And they're all cheering, and she's like, "For the Chantry!" And you're like, "Okay." What was going on the past 10 minutes?
Watching the show.
What? Yeah. it was this catastrophe. So anyway, all the bad guys are dead. Cassandra and Galleon get this appointment with the Divine. Cassandra saved the Divine's life and whatever. So she was freed of charges and all that crap. So the Divine gives Cassandra the title of the Hero of Orlais, and then appoints her. Was it the left hand or the right hand of the Divine? It was one of the hands. One of the hands. Because what's her name? Liliana in Dragon Age 2 is a left hand, I think.
Oh, yep, you're right. I think
so, and she's also the next High Seeker. which is, those are two really huge
honors.
Yeah, because obviously there's no more Grand High Clerics left, so someone's got to be the one of the heads. The problem with this is Cassandra in the games, because she's a nobody, she's sort of like, oh wow, hearing this story about Hawk. Mm-hmm. She was so impressed by Hawk taking out the
Aeroshock.
The Aeroshock, right? Mm-hmm. In single combat, it's so romantic. And you're like, she's so impressed by this champion dude when she herself took on 3 dragons. Well, sorry, 2 dragons and 1 big ass dragon. Mm-hmm. A pride demon. She chopped off the legs or arms of like 3 golems, and
she killed that dragon in the beginning too, right?
Right. With her freaking
dagger thing. Yep.
Jumping on its back, and I think she lopped off the arms or the heads of a few ogres. Mm-hmm. Single-handedly. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That's just like, she's like superhuman already. But she's impressed by Hawk fighting a big Kunari dude with 2 swords or whatever he had. It's just like, that doesn't make sense at all. If you're going to do the right character and show her as she was, and she's already huger than life, hearing a story of one dude who's a refugee who kills 1 Kunari, it wouldn't impress her. I'm sorry. She would be like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
I do that in my sleep too.
I could do that with one. Yeah, I could do that by looking at the guy. He'll terrorize him. So yeah, that was what happened. I don't know why they told the story of Cassandra. It could have been the story of... I would have actually preferred the story of what happened to Liliana after the events of Dragon Age 1, mm-hmm. and how she became the left hand of the Divine. I think that would have been way more interesting, mm-hmm. because we know who she is. She's an actual character from the games, and they retconned her, so she's always alive.
Right.
And that what I would like to see, because she was a very interesting character. She had a lot of depth to her. Mm-hmm. Cassandra, she's angry.
It's true though. She's mad. She's just mad.
She needs to kill a lot of people before she calms down every morning.
Lots of mages specifically.
Yeah. Oh yeah, blood mages. Specifically. No. Originally it was all mages. Now
it's just the bad ones.
The purple ones. Yeah.
Yes.
And also the ones that are in her childhood that she doesn't connect the dots with. So, yeah, it was not a bad story. The plot by the antagonist was decent, and then it sort of just degraded. And I think halfway through, every scene after that sort of fell short. But it wasn't destructive. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is so stupid. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Godzilla scene, it was kind of silly. But when you're dealing with magic and dragons, I guess some people expect crap like that. I did not like her jumping off, especially in full armor at the intro. She jumps off like 3 cliffs, mm-hmm. and she's like dual wielding broadswords and just hacking the crap. It's like, whoa, chicks, calm down there. So I did not like the Divine at all. I mean, I know she's really busy preparing for this big festival, but you lost 2 of your high seekers, or 2 of your seekers, which was the High Seeker as well as Byron, mm-hmm. and it's all blamed on Cassandra, and she doesn't bother to go say hi to Cassandra and say, hey, what happened? Why'd you do that? And it's like, that doesn't, to me, if you're a religious leader and you're so sensitive to all your people around, like your close people, like, mm-hmm. like them, I would think she would take matters into her own hands, especially when she's in the safety of her own castle or whatever that Vatican City is. Mm-hmm. And you go find out, but she's just like, oh, it's so...
Or fun. Even like the depth of like the whole conspiracy, right? Like when Byron took Xeris because he was like, they can't go back. She can't go back. They're gonna do something.
Yeah, Byron.
He died.
Byron was trying to figure out who was the conspiracy. So he pretty much says anyone could be possible. I'm going to take matters in my own hands. Which, okay, I'm not saying it's a bad way to go about doing things. It's just that was just the action to get Cassandra involved in the death of Byron for her to care. So it's, again, we understand the motivations. It was a pretty flaccid character protagonist, And again, the supporting character ended up doing all the work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a fun show. If you like animation, very good. You'll probably enjoy it. But other than that, if you know the Dragon Age 2, if you know Dragon Age, I think you might enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it was easy to like, I think.
Right. The writing is, I think, fantastic, but it's simple and it makes sense. That's the most important. It makes sense. It's not intelligent, but we're not expecting much from anime, and hopefully we can get to see more interesting stuff from these guys in the future for Dragon Age 3. Yes.
Hope so.
Yes, and if not, then I have to say goodbye to BioWare, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what they got next coming up, but
I'm sure they have many more cards up their sleeves, but hey.
What do they have? Command and Conquer? Is that the only franchise they got?
Oh, maybe.
I'm not paying attention to them recently. But okay. Yeah, there it was. Dawn of the Seeker, Dragon Age anime based on the game. Check it out.
Yeah. Enjoy.